#1 show in the webosphere. We got myself, Ross Leone, Gaz, aka Mashinobi PXM, Fire Pixie in the chat. In case anybody gets unruly, we got to have it moderated. Sorry about the delay today, folks. Literally, I thought for once PXM was going to do the impossible and get the show on time today. Then I go to log in and my webcam was just all green. I had to restart. So we're past it. Do have some major news. I don't know if I'll drop next week's show. Maybe I'll drop it at the end of the show. That way we'll let people populate so nobody misses it. It is in the formerly community posts, now posts per YouTube. So we're going to post monthly schedules there, and then that's where the polls will be. I'll be doing another one for best vigilante action revenge films. And yeah, it's basically just reviews now, but you guys can see what we got coming up. Of course, we did Yojimbo last week. That leads into this show. It's a sequel show, A Fistful of Dollars. I don't think I had the right date, but I believe I corrected it because A Fistful of Dollars is, I believe, 64, but it doesn't drop in the States until 67, if I'm not mistaken. Or that might be...
it was 67, a few dollars more. Oh, no. You're right.
Well, I think they dropped the trilogy
right.
Almost altogether. So
you're right. Yeah, States in the UK, 67. You're right.
Yeah, sorry. This is definitely the first. It's a multi-country production, which most people might not know. It's Italy, Spain, and Germany. So $200K budget. Yeah. Did I get the title right, Pixie? Because I don't think it's showing it to me here on the internal side. Because I had it from 61 from last week for Yojimbo, but I believe I changed it. 1964. If you ever mention Gary Francis Post on another film review, Pixie, I'll go off on you. February schedule and post, as PXM has said. This is get that out of here. You're hurting my eyes, Pixie. I don't want to see that crap.
I don't even know what I'm laughing at, but I'm just laughing.
We're off to a good start here. Another classic PXM production. You can tell.
I just know every time that's brought up, it makes sure my head explodes. So
yeah, no, it's just a garbage suspect. It's just like it's basically a random guy. It's me being like, yeah, maybe Gaz was the Zodiac, but he's not even born in 68. Like that's the equivalent of a Gary Francis Post.
Time travel.
Matter of fact, you are British with a British upbringing and accent and dialect. I could arguably theoretically make more of an argument of Zodiac for you with Happy Christmas and
would Pixie think my accent's manly enough, with her thoughts on the southern accents we saw in Evolutionary the other week. That might sway, it might not be quite there.
Yeah.
Okay, no, I'm going to behave. We'll get on topic.
Total garbage. So a low budget production, guys, $200K back then. And Eastwood is paid $15,000. Most of you might not know that. The trilogy catapults him to superstardom in the Western genre. One thing you guys might not know of is the Yojimbo production versus A Fistful of Dollars production controversy. I'll get to that after me and Gaz do plot. But I guess we can kind of just jump in here. Shout out to everybody coming through. Welcome. Big show next week. That's all I'll say now. It's listed in the post, and I'll get to it at the end. So yeah, I guess I'll do synopsis, guys, before we get into that. So if you guys understand, this is essentially a Western remake of Yojimbo. So quite a lot in there. A wandering gunfighter plays two rival families against each other in a town torn apart by greed, pride, and revenge. That's IMDb. That we've all heard that story before, right? Quite similar to the Yojimbo plot. It's a spaghetti western, a drama, and a western. Do you know why the spaghetti westerns are called spaghetti westerns, guys?
Yeah, isn't it because they're pretty much Italian made?
Yeah, shot in Italy and Italian director producers. I mean, I don't even know to call this one because they filmed in Spain and this one also, and it's that tri-country production. So I guess this is like the first of like the reignition of the spaghetti genre, and then I guess they pull more Italian directors and more shoot more Italy shooting later on. What up, Dark Side? What up? Yeah, Gaz passed his first test. Clint as the man with no name. They call it the Man with No Name trilogy or the Dollars trilogy. A bit like what me and Gaz were saying about Mifune Sanjuro character. Like he looked at the mulberry field and was like, "Hey, my last name's Mulberry." He just basically makes up a name into whatever town he goes into. Clint a man of few words. He never quite gets that far, huh, guys? Not big on introductions or backgrounds with this man with no name.
Yeah, but it literally leaves a little bit of mystery to him, kind of what they do in High Plains Drifter and Pale Rider, the remake of that, I believe. And I liked that, and that is referenced a little later as we'll get to a scene where Clint's character has a conversation with Marisol, which I'll get to, and that kind of hints at there's more to Clint's character than we're seeing.
Absolutely. So it's essentially like these brothers that run this crime family. That's kind of who the man with no name, aka we'll call him Clint Eastwood. And I didn't really ever think about how we were going to refer to this protagonist until in this review, until that moment right there, guys. He's a well-known actor that you guys all know from the action genre.
Yeah, I mean, everyone calls him Clint regardless of the name of the character, isn't it? So
yeah, you're right. Exactly. Like, it's not really Clint, but it also is because he's so authentic. So, but yeah, it's like these Rojo brothers, two gangs, like we said, much like Yojimbo, and of course he's the man with no name. So, what do you refer to the man with no name as in the Dollars trilogy? So when he gets there, he befriends the innkeeper. It's essentially the exact same beginning as Yojimbo for all intents and purposes. He tells him about like he has no money, similar situation to Sanjuro. He starts giving him like food and drink. He starts telling him the whole background. Hey, it's two crime families. You're either gambling or you're in the gunfighters, or you're, and then saying you're not going to last long in the town. And then they hear, Gaz mentioned this in the last review, they hear the working of the coffin maker. And man with no name is like, whoa, Pixie, don't get all excited. This is an action film here. Maybe you watched the wrong title, the wrong genre. I'm
not going to comment. My mind's just going to go. Our best
Clint is a super fit man. I'll say Clint is a fit man. I'll say that much. So, So they hear the working of the casket makers, and they pop the window open, and like that's when the man with no name, the innkeeper, they see that that dude is just making caskets through the roof, and that's obviously a reference, similar reference to Yojimbo as well. I will pull up. I'll pull up some plot, but anything else you have on that beginning? Yes.
Yeah, well, I've got to mention it. The iconic opening where we hear the score for the first time.
Oh yeah,
that is absolutely legendary. Fantastic, and that will continue in the other films as well when we get to them. I do like the dialogue of the opening scene where Clint is taking a drink from a well. And
I missed that whole scene. Good call, yeah.
And he sees a guy essentially abusing Marisol's son, and there'd probably be an outcry if this happened now, because he's like making the kid essentially dance home by literally shooting his pistol on the floor, making this kid run. But the dialogue is hilarious because we know it's obviously spaghetti western, so a lot of the villains, they've got dub voices, and it reminds me of one of those old school like kung fu movies, man, where it's like filthy animal or something like that.
Bad double.
That was hilarious. Don't get wrong, this film is fantastic. I'm not hating on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's almost like the El Mariachi of the Desperado trilogy. It's like the low budget prequel version. Score is Ennio Morricone, as Gaz said. You guys know him much later on in his career. Rest in peace, I believe. Much later on in his career, from The Thing in the 80s, and then even more recently, Tarantino uses him from The Hateful Eight, as Gaz and I were saying. Kurosawa and Sergio Leone spaghetti westerns are a massive influence on Tarantino. So much to the point that he uses the same score composer from these original spaghetti westerns in a new school neo western, which is kind of epic. That theme song, and it's been sampled in hip hop tracks and stuff. I'm sure Gaz knows it's very infamous. Probably not as infamous as the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme, which Kanye used. I wonder how much
something on that as well.
For sure. Like if Morricone was still alive when Kanye sampled that, like I have to imagine they had to pay out for the sample, which I'm sure wasn't a problem for Kanye, because those guys in the label are rich. But
Yeah.
it's just kind of crazy to think like when you make something so legendary that it, as Gaz said, it gets passed into these other genres of music, and then people create other songs of it, and like it lives on. There's actually some controversy I found out about with production between Kurosawa and Leone and Yojimbo and A Fistful of Dollars. I'll bring it up at the end.
Really? Wow. Shout out to Crypt, Rick. Thanks for coming through. Good to
What
see
up, my
you
dude?
again.
Crypt is going to be joining us next month on the St. Paddy's Day, Everyone's Irish theme song, legendary holiday show. I guess, did they sample High Plains Drifter? Pixie?
Nice,
cool.
nice.
So yeah, I we got that on the list. We're definitely going to be doing Pale Rider and High Plains Drifter. But yeah, so what the dude has like the ammo strapped across his chest, as Gaz was saying. Man with no name is drinking some water, and the dude like mean mugs him, and I love how he just like pretended not to see it and just like, oh, I'm just here drinking water, like he's obviously watching the whole thing.
Oh yeah, he's surveying the scene and seeing what's up.
Like his observation is he's kind of doing some surveillance. It's just a sick, very similar to like Sanjuro coming into that town and knowing that it's just like going to be a bloodbath war. Of course, there's no like dog with a hand in this one, but it's kind of juxtaposed with that scene of the kid, as Gaz was saying.
Yeah, and that continues throughout the film. Him scoping out literally every scene, developing a strategy, which is excellent.
Yeah. It really shows the background. Like he kind of has everything all like mapped out before he goes and makes his moves. He doesn't just like run in between these two gangs and bumble around. He does get caught up at one point, and we'll cover that. But pretty smooth sailing. Also, quite a similar concept of the gunfighter. In the case of Sanjuro, it was a swordsman, I'm sure, as Gaz will mention, but the gunfighter going back and forth between gangs and like demanding money. That was like how Sanjuro was getting the rubies from those other guys. So a lot of very similar. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the exact same film because there is some difference, but in terms of like we can cover what the plot points are that they follow.
But there's enough to make it its own, and it really
agree. That's
is.
What I was coming to.
And there are scenes that are definitely a replication, and there also are a deliberate nod. I nearly said another word then. A deliberate nod, not the other word. Pixie be thinking, oh, I've come to the right channel after all. Anyway, swiftly moving on from that, so I've just taken us further down the rabbit hole. Yeah. But there is, but I'll wait till we get to them because some of those scenes I thought were really well done, even though they were like a nod to
recreations. And again, this is a big theme. Before Gaz goes, this is a big theme that we're going to be covering, especially with A New Hope, A Hidden Fortress to A New Hope. And I'm not sure how many of those A New Hope were nods. That was just more like, hey, Hidden Fortress was pretty good, right, guys? George Lucas that was more like a copy paste.
Well, in this one, they intentionally did, like in both Sherlock Holmes movies with Robert Downey Jr. Those definitely, there's various scenes, little subtle things to do, which kind of pay homage to Basil Rathbone, the old school movies, and they do that in Fistful of Dollars as well, which is excellent.
Sure, absolutely. And yeah, so we'll cover what the parallel moments are, and then get to what the big controversy is. It's he kind of gives him the lowdown of the backdrop of the town. As we said, it's supposed to be San Miguel, on the Mexico-U.S. border. Silvanito and that sounds more like an Italian name, guys.
Yeah,
but who knows? Is the town's innkeeper. Tells a stranger about a feud between two smuggler families vying to gain control of the town. The Rojo brothers, Don Miguel, Esteban, and Ramon, and the family of the town sheriff, John Baxter, his matriarchal wife, Consuelo, and their son, Antonio. To make money, the stranger decides to play these families against each other. He demonstrates his deadliness to both sides by shooting the four men who insulted him as he entered the town with ease. So it gets it popping pretty quick. So he pulls up on his horse. Like I was going to say too, guys, there's no horses in Yojimbo. They could have been riding horses, but like horses are way more prevalent in Fistful of Dollars.
Yeah, I think was the only one scene I think where the guy who had the pistol. Did he come into town on a horse?
Maybe at one point that was probably
only one though.
Kurosawa's little nod to the Western genre, probably in that scene. You know what I mean?
Welcome, Mr. GSV. Good to see you again, man.
What up, man?
Welcome, DNA King, as well.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I like it. Keep it going, Pixie. Whatever I can do to make your membership more interesting, DNA King, let me know. So they play a joke on Man with No Name. They all start like shooting at the ground at his horse. That obviously spooks his horse because they don't like that. So he catches on to what the pole has, and his mule kind of bounces. But later on, he demands an apology.
I love this scene as well. It's so good. It's so good.
You can take it away.
Well, yeah. So after the Baxters shoot at Clint's horse, he comes back later after he's met kind of the local innkeeper, the equivalent of the character in Yojimbo, and he goes back to confront the Baxters, and he demands an apology from them to his mule, because his mule gets upset. He says, I know you were joking, but my mule doesn't quite understand that.
Disrespected,
The whole exchange is hilarious, and the way you see like the Baxter gang, the looks on their faces, it's like the brains imploding. It like, this dude for real?
Yeah. They hear the words, but they can't process the concept of what he's saying.
But did you like that, man? Which shows you the expressions, and you get the camera close-ups, and you've got that face off. I mean, that's obviously one of the hallmarks of the Western genre. But I really liked how they set that up, and we've got that comedy straight away.
So that's Sergio Leone. So as Gaz was saying, like Kurosawa has, maybe you could say the same story. I think that's as much of an argument as you make. But Kurosawa has 100% different style of filmmaking, a directing style than Sergio Leone has, as we talked about. Kurosawa shoots low and he wants to get all the tops of the buildings and stuff. Sergio Leone is much more personal, much more close-ups of the actors' faces, expressions, reactions, as Gaz was saying. And that kind of sets the tone for the Western genre, if not, at least definitely the spaghetti Western genre. And again, an epic director in his own right. I love Sergio Leone. He's probably my favorite of the spaghetti Western genre. But in terms of director to director, and I'm sure obviously the whole concept of the spaghetti Western takes from a lot of Kurosawa, but still, I wouldn't say they have the same style of filmmaking. It's really quite entirely different in terms of camera angles and such, as Gaz was saying. So basically they decide not to apologize. You guys can probably see how the film is going if you're familiar with the story, or I'm assuming at the bare minimum you saw Yojimbo, and he is very similar to that same scene with Sanjuro. So he just dusts these four guys right off the rip and just like body bags them. Anyway, they're all bad guys anyway, so no one feels that bad about it. And demonstrates his deadliness to both sides by shooting the four men who insulted him as he entered town with ease. The stranger witnesses the Rojos massacre a detachment of Mexican soldiers escorting a chest of gold to exchange for rifles, and comes up with a plan. He takes two of the dead bodies, to a nearby cemetery and props them up to make them appear alive. And he sells information to both factions, claiming two Mexican soldiers survived the attack. So basically him and what was his name? Silvanito. A crazy scene, guys. They go up the hill there. They hide on the ridge. They see the deal. It's supposed to be the gold for the rifles. And then Mexicans flip open a flap, and they have like the grease gun, the whatever.
Yeah, the Gatling gun, isn't it? Yeah,
a bit of a Gatling gun. And this guy, he mows. I don't know if that was Ramon who was on the gun, or he mows down everybody. And it's pretty wild there. That's a sick scene.
And it also Ramon is definitely the next strongest character outside of Clint. He makes his film as much as Clint really makes the film, so I'll take that back. But Ramon is a good villain. And just after that scene, I like the way they introduce Ramon's lethality with the Winchester. You see one of the Mexican soldiers is getting away, folks, and Ramon takes a Winchester, shoots him. So he already has set the scene. Like, Clint's good with his 45. This guy's good as a sharpshooter. So you're going to have that dichotomy there, that interesting face-off.
Absolutely.
So I really like that.
Yeah, me too. Very cool. Yeah. So a couple of the Mexican soldiers are almost able to escape. A couple almost get over the ridge. Yeah. But just as they're about to cross, he's able to swing the Gatling gun and mow them down. one dude maybe got shot a couple times, but not fatally, arm or leg or whatever. And he gets back up, jumps on the horse, and he's dipping across the river, as Gaz said. And Ramon jumps up on one of the wagons, and one of the dudes like tosses him the rifle. He catches it one hand, sights him, and gets him, like basically snipes him, as Gaz said, in the rifle. And that leads up, Man with No Name's pistol versus Ramon's rifle skills, which is for sure interesting juxtaposition on that. Shout out to all the action going on in there with Pixie handing out the memberships there. And like I said, so for the members, if you go to the posts, you'll see members only posts that the average subscriber can't see on there. If you need to contact me or any sort of feedback on the reviews or the true crime episodes or any other ideas or recos, you can always just hit me there. And members, you guys are starred, so I can see your stuff. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more prominent than a random. No. If Pixie gives you a membership, it's a thank you as well and due. Not joking. That's each faction races to the cemetery, the Baxters, to get the supposed survivors to testify against the Rojos to silence them. They engage in a gunfight with Ramon killing the supposed survivors and Esteban capturing the Antonio Baxters. How these guys didn't figure out those were dead bodies, Gaz, and not alive is beyond me. But it's a spaghetti western, and the villains aren't exactly smart. They're more just like meathead gunfighters. Yeah,
definitely, because you can kind of tell they're not exactly sat there after like copious amounts of whiskey and just like
fingerprinting the bodies, red scans. It's just all before that day, before the evidence and forensics modernizations.
Yeah, for sure, man. That's one of the. There is an interesting scene before this earlier, where Clint starts working for the Rojos, which is a nod to Yojimbo, and it's Ramon's. I think it is Ramon's speech, which parallels the scene in Yojimbo where one of the leaders of the gangs is talking to his wife and son, and they say, we'll give this guy the equivalent of $100 and we'll kill him afterwards and then take the $100 back. Well, that scene's more or less replicated by Ramon and his gang with a speech.
That's cool. I like
when
that.
There's some concerns of the other brothers, like, we're not sure if we trust this guy. And Ramon's saying, look, this guy is obviously very skilled, but he's intelligent as well, so he's dangerous. So that, I thought, was a real nice touch. One of other scenes which we'll come to later.
Yeah, for sure. So there's like Man with No Name and the Innkeeper and the Coffin Builder, very similar to Sanjuro and the Coffin Builder. Then that one, we'll kind of list them off as we're going along. There's quite a few guys, and it's like, if you like Yojimbo, I imagine it would be really hard not to like this, unless you're just like a totally like anti-Western guy. But I mean, in terms of story, it's very similar. So apparently, apparently Esteban captures Antonio Baxter. While the Rojos and the Baxters are fighting, the stranger searches the Rojo hacienda for gold and accidentally knocks out a woman, Marisol. He takes her to the Baxters, who arrange to return her to the Rojos in exchange for Antonio. During the hostage exchange, Marisol's son and husband approach her. Ramon orders one of his men, Rubio, to kill Marisol's husband, Julio, but he is deterred by Salvanito and the stranger. The stranger orders Marisol to go back to Ramon and her husband to take their son home. He learns from Silvanito that Ramon accused Julio of cheating during a card game and took Marisol as collateral. I mean, again, another Yojimbo parallel. We know when the wife was they were traded in the gambling deal or whatever. Jesus, don't get Pixie going about how hot Clint is, Rick.
Yeah, right. I'll make sure I've got. There you go. There's some water. Hopefully I haven't just killed my monitor as I do that.
Me and Gas will have a little sippy poo here out of my Planet X glass on Teespring.
It'd be an idea I must wear a PX PX shirt when I sit here one time. I actually got one. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
It makes sense for the show that you're a co-host on. That concept might be a little bit high concept for Gaz, but
as this guy keeps sitting in a Wu-Tang hoodie all the time.
He goes on Mosh Shinobi and he wears it. That's just random. Oh, dude, I gotta tell you, I think Striking Justice, I think, leaked. The whole thing's on YouTube, but it's obviously a boot. The trailer is out, so we're gonna have to find the copy. I'm not sure the actual, if it's just not on streaming services yet. Gaz and I are going to do a little bit digging on that. But me and Wall Street watched the first fight. It was absolutely sick, bro.
Oh, dude. Yeah, we've got to then. I'm sold already. I'm sold already, man. I best behave. I'll just start nerding on that.
It's going to be fire. Striking Justice review coming soon as we can find the film.
Welcome, Cheryl, as well. Thanks for coming through.
What up? Hey, Cheryl. Great. Well, I guess we'll do more Clint Eastwood if it keeps the ladies coming through the. No problem. We'll give you guys as many Clint Eastwood.
She'll give Clint gift packs. Join Patreon. We'll do some Cliff.
Easy choice for me and Gaz. What scene was I thinking of? Because another thing I want to mention is the dialogue, having like that dark comedy dialogue from Yojimbo. They kind of kept that. Like Clint's character is like. This, like, he delivers it like stoic, but like the stuff he says is like absolutely outlandish and hilarious. So we're not hitting every line here, every detail, guys, but there's just a lot of shootouts. There's a lot in there for for this type of thing. So that night when the Rojos are celebrating, the stranger kills the guard, frees Marisol, and wrecks the house that she was held in to create the appearance of attack by the Baxters. So that's like Sanjuro and Yojimbo. He gives the money to Marisol and urges her family to leave town. Obviously, we know when Sanjuro rescued the wife, so that's right out of it. Man with no name wrecked the house, just like we were talking about how Sanjuro messed up the place to make it look like a big fight.
That I was going to bring that up because even like the way he takes out all the guys, definitely like Yojimbo, and also when he's I think it's like straw hair that Clint's cutting down this time. And that was definitely like that scene in Yojimbo with the grin, And I thought that was such a nod and really well done as well.
Sick recreation, recreation. Just so cool how you can have one film in feudal Japan and the same story, and the American West, where Sphaghetti was Western. Obviously, Italy in the background, guys. You know me, I'm sick. I'm always amazed with the spaghetti westerns, guys. Like, I live in the American West now. How much it looks like the American West, knowing that that's Central Europe. You know what I mean? But you can do a lot with a
meanwhile, back here, it's like back in the Dark Ages, still on the lookout.
Well, we were talking about that first scene of Gladiator being up there, and we were like, that was perfect. You know what I mean? It worked so well. You know what I mean? As the dark forests of the northern British backdrop. What was I saying about that? So the recreation of the two scenes there. That part, Gaz, when he the camera zooms up on her hand and Clint just like grabbed her hand and then he just grabbed her like where he put his hand over her mouth and just grabbed her for behind and whispered in her ear. It was a different time, people. You can't really approach a woman like that.
Well, what's hilarious is like, but it's very smart, right? Because the way he just drags her out that scene and then it's like taking her across the short street is like you're coming to say you more or less unspoken words. You come into safety and you can clearly see like it was this maniac taking me. But and that's there's another. I'm thinking of it might be High Plains Drifter, the barn scene when I'll just say Clint meets a woman there, and it's definitely there would be such a there would be a meltdown. Homage. There would be a meltdown, similar thing, but. I think that scene, and then when he pretty much gives her some money to her and her husband and the son, and says, "Right, get out of here." That's a definite another that furthers that recreation of that scene
Yojimbo. When Sanjuro frees the wife. The only thing is Sanjuro went super hard in on them, like, "Yeah, I freed you, you idiots, get out of here, or I'll kill you." Clint, he wasn't that harsh on them. He was just like, "Get out of here, go on, get out of here." You know what I mean? But he didn't call them idiots or threaten to kill them like Sanjuro did.
Which were a bit hesitant at first, definitely. But there is, as earlier I mentioned, that there is like a nod to there's more to Clint's character because Marisol asks him, "Why are you doing this?" and Clint replies, "Because I knew someone like you one time, and there was no help available then." I thought that was excellent because. you think like Sanjiro that, yeah, this guy isn't, you know, the audience could think, well, this guy isn't kind of like a protagonist, a good guy, I guess. But it shows that, no, there's much more to him. There's a lot hidden. There's a mystery there. And this guy does have some morals. There is some principles behind him. And it's like, yeah, I'm still going to screw these two gangs over, but I'm not going to let this woman and a kid and a husband
be the collateral damage.
Yeah, exactly. The same with Benito as well, his friend, as we get to later. Yeah. And the coffin guy's hilarious as well. I thought he was hilarious.
The coffin maker's the man. Yeah. Do you think that reference to like, I knew someone that's like his wife and his kid or his mom or something? Like, it could be either his family.
I think so. I think so. Yeah, and this is why I definitely wanted to do for a few dollars more, which I think is even better, because Colonel Mortimer in that film with the pocket watch and the famous musical tone, which has been sampled so much in hip hop as well. Well, that nod there's a picture of his wife, and of course it's a nod to what happened to Colonel Mortimer's family, and that's all I'm going to say on that, because I'll wait till we do that. So yeah, I definitely think so, bro.
We'll get it in the mix. Red Cloud had a gore grind question for you.
Yeah, I listened to some of it. I do a more grindcore, grind violence, power violence, crust grind, but some I do, yeah, because some of it can be hilariously entertaining, but probably more on the other grindcore. But yeah, some's all right, man.
The Rojos eventually discover that it was the stranger who freed Marisol. They capture and torture him, but he escapes. We'll break that down because Gaz actually mentioned this in the Yojimbo review, and I'd totally forgotten about it. So there's like the huge guy that beats him up and tortures him. That's like the huge guy that beat up Sanjuro. So that's another parallel there as the others we've listed. And then as Gaz said, man with no name, that he gets pretty much. I like when they're beating him up, and then he swung back up and he threw that punch and he cracked the, like, they've been torturing him for like 2 hours and he's still
got one in there.
Take swings. He's still trying to take swings and fight. Like, dude, they've just tied you in a building and beat the bag out of you for hours, and you're still throwing punches through the torture. It just shows like the durability of this character, that you know he's the man. Well. And then the dude obviously steps on his fingers with the spur and jams his hand on the way out. I want to talk about his escape, though, and break this scene down, though, because it's absolutely epic. Where are we at on the clock? We're chilling. Because when he rolls that barrel down and they try to come in and screw with it more, guys, that was so awesome. I don't know if it was explosive or like what got them. Like, was it gunpowder in there or something?
I just thought it was the weight of the barrel, because I didn't see like anything
so heavy, with the weight, because it was.
Yeah, I did think. High plains drifter pill rider would definitely you're on about the music Beastie Boys. Yeah, for sure.
I'll check it out. I rock with Beastie Boys.
Yeah, definitely. I thought that scene was awesome. And did you like it where like Clint's, you know, he's crawling over the edge, the top of the ledge. He's like, they've been taken out, and then casually rolls himself down.
Yeah, then he rolls down after the barrel. He couldn't walk. They stomped him out. I mean, honestly, I'll make the argument, like, that's realistic. Like, dude, if you get beat down for like a couple hours, you're not just – when other movies, when dudes recover in 2 seconds, like me and Gaz always talk about it, like, that is not a realistic injury for a combat situation. You know what I mean?
Well, you know, in Yojimbo, when I said the combat scenes in that movie for its time, I thought were really ahead of its time, pretty brutal for that era. I think it's the same in here. It really is.
Yeah,
the way the guy first bodies for them from the Baxter's gang, and he just uses his 45 and takes 4 out straight like that, man. Really.
Yeah, the quick draw. And you know what else I noticed about that, guys, is the timing. So like we were talking about how Sanjuro had that 10 strikes at 10 kills in 10 seconds. Like, I would say Clint is right behind that with the quick draw, right? Like you said, 1, 2, 3, 4. They followed like that same pace of Yojimbo. Yeah. Would you say that that's like accurate?
Yeah, for sure. You know,
so both guys are, you know, elites in their fields. Like one swordsman, one gunman, one gunfighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely sick. So he crawls out of there, as Gaz was saying. We were talking about that scene with Toshiro Mifune, Sanjuro underneath the how they had to drop the cameras under the crawl space. Clint kind of does that. It was the same type of thing with the dumb villains, though, guys. Like, they were standing right over him. They're like, here, we're going to head him off at the pass. Let's get him. And he's like right under him. And they're all like standing right on top of him.
Yeah, and Ramon's directing them all. Rubio,
the way that they like shot it with the shadows was sick, you know, because you can kind of see a Man with No Name under there. And then, you know what I mean? Just the shadow work.
I did like the scene that follows, though, where the coffin maker, who's got the best job in the entire movie, it's Clint in the background. The lid of the coffin just lifts up. I'm over here.
Oh yeah. He's like we whispered to him like Man with No Name hid in the coffin. That was awesome. And he's like he ran by and he's like, where are you? He's like, yeah, I'm in here. He's like, he said something to him like, hey, you're not supposed to be in there yet or something like that.
Yeah, he says something like, you're not supposed to be in there. You're not dead yet. And he's like, it's like, I will be if you don't get me out of here. Which that was awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah, that was awesome. The back and forths between like him and Silvanito and him and the coffin maker, absolutely hilarious. Like again, and we said, you know, it took that dark comedy dialogue from Yojimbo. I'm glad they kept that going. You know what I mean? Because it definitely works for for this story. Because that's where you were at. Okay. So they capture and torture him. He escapes, believing that he's protected by the Baxters. The Rojos set fire to the Baxter home, massacring everybody, including the Baxter's wife, as they flee the burning building. So as everybody running out, they shoot them all. Super grimy scene. I mean, this movie's funny because especially in that Mexican gold scene, there's no blood, guys, because obviously like squibs didn't like exist at this time, so would have been realistic. But then there are parts like obviously when when Man with No Name got tortured, or like when some of the other characters die and they have that like super like bright red ketchup blood all over their mouths, and like so it's like the use of blood is like hilarious because there's either none or it's this like overly like bright hue that is never a color of blood that you've seen in any realistic fashion, but it's still hilarious for a Western. I mean, it all works. For the time.
Yeah, they did that in the old school horror movies as well with Dracula, when they'd have like the paint, coming down from the fangs, or if someone's been killed, they've got like the two kind of rivers running from the two bite marks. That scene you just mentioned there, where the Rojos, essentially the Man with No Name is held up in the Baxter's headquarters. They use some barrels, pretty much set the building on fire, and then shoot them as they're coming out. Very, very grimy. As this is happening, the coffin maker is transporting a Man with No Name in the background. Clint asks the dude to stop so he can lift the coffin up and survey what's happening, just like in Yojimbo when Sanjiro is in the coffin.
Same thing.
Now, this scene is grimy enough, but Ross, when the leader of the Baxter's gang, he wants to surrender and he's shot, and his wife then comes out later and she says, right, I'm going to curse you all, you're all murderers. That was quite a powerful performance from her. Absolutely. And that really sold that scene even more, especially for the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. What up, Slippy? Welcome to the show, bud. We got something coming up for you next month in the schedule. Schedule's posted under posts, guys. YouTube changed the name from Community once again. So where are we? They searched the house and they like blew it up with the explosives, set it on fire, even though they didn't find him. And then, as you said, with the help from the local coffin maker named Piripiro, say that 3 times fast, the stranger escapes down by hiding in a coffin and recuperates in an abandoned mine. That is pretty sick scene there too. When Piripiro tells him that Silvanito has been captured and tortured by the Rojos for the stranger's whereabouts, he returns to town to confront them. This is like the big famous shootout here. It's like, kind of what sets the tone of the sequel, as Gaz said, and then later on that 3-man standoff at the end of The Good and the Bad and the Ugly. This is obviously the scene that Biff is watching in Back to the Future 2. This harkens back. It's a callback to when Man with No Name was in the Rojos hideout, and they have the medieval knight armor everywhere, and it's Ramon who uses them for target practice, so he can see like the groupings of his shots. He always like tries to shoot like around the left side of the heart. So we have this epic my throat is jacked up. A new American History X this year, dude. Don't get me started. It better be some sort of sequel. I don't know. I don't think it's
No,
possible. I don't think it's possible to create
needs to be
American
left
History X.
alone.
I was just reminding Gaz about the Wackelty remake. The faculty,
and Wackarinth Poo coming.
Oh yeah, Wackarinth Poo is going to be so whack. Without David Bowie, you can't recreate it.
Dude, they're absolutely creatively bankrupt, and they will make sequels to absolutely anything that doesn't
100%.
need a sequel because they don't take a risk in anything anymore, and they just want to play it safe. And yet we'll get more. I mean, Marvel bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to be Dr. Doom, isn't it, next year? I'm just,
ridiculous.
Oh man, it's just
terrible. And then possibly Brolin playing Darkseid when he already plays Thanos.
Yeah.
You're eventually going to have we didn't need a first one, to be honest with you.
No, we didn't.
I mean, the soundtrack's dope. It has Lane Staley on it from Alice in Chains. It's probably the biggest compliment I can give it. With a steel plate hidden beneath his poncho, he taunts Ramon to aim for the heart as Ramon's shots deflect until Ramon exhausts his Winchester rifle's ammunition. The stranger shoots I guess that's what we should have been calling him, guys, the stranger. The stranger, finally, as we get to the last line of the plot, we figure that out. The stranger shoots the weapon from Ramon's hand and kills Don Miguel. Oh wait, hold on. I don't want to blow that yet. So he rolls up. If you guys saw Back to the Future 2, you saw Biff watching this part. But he rolls up with the poncho. He keeps getting closer and closer. Every time Ramon shoots him, he falls down, but he just gets up again. You know what I mean, like zombie style. Yeah. And then eventually, as he gets close, he drops the steel plate to show that he kind of had the bulletproof vest under there, bulletproof vest concept before it existed. So. As Gaz said, this sets it all up. Ramon kept telling him like a man with a 45 versus
Mexican proverb, yeah,
the old Mexican proverb. So Stranger drops it on him like, "Hey, you said like a guy with a rifle can beat like a man with the 45 pistols." He's like, "So let's find out." So Stranger drops his pistol, puts it on the ground, and they both have ammo to reload. When Ramon goes to reload, Stranger just like reloads and like just like cocks fast, like way faster than him, obviously because he has a pistol. So he has it on him, blows him away. Which trailer cloud is this?
I guess this American History X.
Yeah, I mean that must be some low budget production, man. I've not heard of that, but I'll check it out though, or send it to me if you guys have it. So he blows him away, and like the 3 or 4 dudes that he had with him. And I just want to say that this is one of the best endings in film. Film history, because it's kind of similar to that walk-off Sanjuro had in Yojimbo, but it's like this is the big happy celebration in a fistful of dollars. There's just dead bodies slumped on the well in the middle of town, and he tells them like he says like what the Mexican and the U.S. government are like coming here to clean this.
He says after that scene, I mean, the whole exchange is legendary. The facial expressions, the way he's making Ramon
crazy standoff,
panic as well. I loved it where he shoots down his friend who's hung up as well.
Yeah, somebody do, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's that line saying, I think it's his friend who says you're not going to stick around, something like that. And he says, what with the Mexican army coming in, the American army on the other side, and me stuck in the middle, that's going to be way too dangerous, which is more or less the line he says at the start of the film when he first meets him regarding both the Baxters and Rojos. So it was excellent way to end the movie. And then the way Clint rides off as well. And then the camera pans out as well. And of course, you've got the famous score again. Excellent.
And so as the credits drop, the casket maker is dragging those bodies to fill up the cat. Like that's the end of this movie. And they make it like it's a big like celebration. Like it's not like A New Hope with the ceremony, but it's like, oh, Stranger won. He freed the town, yet he just littered the town square with dead bodies. It's the happy ending, you know what I mean? It's just like dead bodies getting dragged away to the coffin. So it's of course iconic classic ending. You
didn't need to join a gym back then, did you? If you were a coffin maker, get enough of a workout.
Facts, dude. And so he shot down the rope that was holding up Silvanito. So that's how they rescued him. We did miss one thing, like because you mentioned that, guys, with the trick shots of Stranger shooting the rope. So that time when he took out the guards at the Rojo's base. And I think that was Rubio that had like the armor, the ammo across his chest. He shot those 2 ropes to drop the metal door down, and it knocked him out and hit him in the face. And I'm just thinking like can anyone actually make that shot? Can anyone hit, like that's like a 1-inch shot to hit the two ropes, not miss once and hit it both? I mean, I'm sure there's like expert trick shot guys that could do it, but I'm like, dude, that's got to be like a 1 in a million shot for anyone to actually make those. I mean,
but doesn't this add to the mystery of the man with no name that is very dangerous? Is he one of the only few people who can make that shot, which is kind of further expanded upon in a few dollars more between him and Colonel Mortimer? I think Colonel Mortimer says a line something. I'm sure it's in that film where I haven't seen it for such a long time, but it's like where there's only so many people alive who could make this kind of shot. So that's great how you've got that linkage as well.
100%. Like he's like in the 1% of gunfighters, which is like just makes him insane. But like when he busted the two ropes, I was thinking like, I mean, and again, I'm sure guys could do it back then because there was like a top 10, top 20 gunfighters. So like, of course, but you're talking about like the best in your field, like a Bruce Lee, you know what I mean? Walking up to the people at the corral, and he says to coffin maker, "Make 3 more coffins." So wait,
yes,
made a mistake. It's gonna be 4. And I think didn't Sanjuro do that in Yojimbo to the coffin maker too? I want to say he named like I'm gonna need like 2 or 3, and it's similar type of callback. So after challenging Ramon to reload his rifle faster than he can reload his revolver, the stranger shoots and kills him. Esteban Rojo aims for the strangers. Oh, I forgot about that. He aims from a nearby building, but is shot dead by Salvanito. So the dude stuck the double barrel out of the window,
barrel out there. Yeah,
and Salvanito saw it. He shotgunned him. That was a nasty shot. I forgot about that. That was sick. Dude. Just so many moments, so many epic angles. Just of course, Sergio Leone, you know, is essentially a spaghetti western god. Shot dead by Salvanito. The stranger bids Salvanito and Puro farewell and rides away from town. So. I mean, we could hold off a little bit on our ratings, guys, because we got a good 15, 20 here. I want to go to this. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so what about if we, and I think you're about to do that, delve into the production controversy between...
Yeah, absolutely. I'm about to cue it up right now. So I had heard like whispers of this, but never actually known the actual story. So I'm just going to, this is Wikipedia, guys. Actually, I could make it extreme for the audience, and I could go ahead and share my screen.
Nothing but the finest effects here.
This is cream of the crop. It's not exactly CNN, but it's levels beyond it. The film is identified as unofficial remake of Akira Kurosawa film Yojimbo, which resulted in a successful lawsuit by Toho, Yojimbo's production company. Kurosawa wrote to Leone directly saying, "Senor Leone, I've just had the chance to see your film. It is a very fine film, but it is my film. Since Japan is a signatory of the Berne Convention on the International Copyright, you must pay me." He and Toho received 15% of the film's revenue. It is believed that Kurosawa earned more money from the financial settlement than he had made on his own film, Yojimbo. Wow. How insane is that, guys?
Wow.
Isn't that nuts?
I did not know that.
Isn't that crazy, dude? So, that's like, that's probably the craziest production story we've covered here on the show.
Yeah.
There being an American History X2 in the works. It must be a fake. Yeah, it could be a fake trailer. But either way.
It could be because a lot of people put out those clickbait trailers, especially using AI, where they'll say like, "Oh, right, Van Damme's back for..." Well, we know there's a new kickboxer coming soon, but there was one that did on Blood. I know there's the other Bloodsport sequels, but there's supposedly the part of fake one a while ago. Yeah. I think it was fake. Or so. To be fair, it might have been someone's possible, right, if Van Damme did a sequel to Bloodsport, this is what it could be. So I won't go too harsh. There's many of them flying around, which needs to stop.
Original film title, The Magnificent Stranger. The Italian title changed to A Fistful of Dollars. Production and development of Fistful of Dollars from Antidotes, described by Italian film historian Robert Curti as both contradictory and difficult to decipher. Alternatively said that Barboni and Stelvio Massi met Leone outside a theater in Rome where they had seen Yojimbo, suggesting to Leone that would make a good Western. I agree. Actor and friend of Leone, Mimmo Palmara, told a similar story to Valeri, saying that Barboni had told him about Yojimbo and he would see it the next day with Leone and his wife Carla. Adriano Balzoni stated in 1978 that he had the idea of making Yojimbo in a Western, brought the idea to Franco Pelaghi, who sent Bolzoni to De Curio Tassari to to watch the film and take notes. Bolzoni said that both he and Tessari wrote a first draft, which moved on to Leone, noting that Tessari wrote majority of the script. It's badass. We got Fernando Di Leo also claimed authorship of the script, saying that both A Fistful and a few more were written by him and Tessari, not Luciano Vincenzoni. Di Leo claimed that after Leone had the idea for the film, Tessari wrote the script and gave him a hand. Di Leo would repeat this story in interviews, saying that he was at the first meetings of Tessari and Leone discussing what kind of film to make from Yojimbo. Di Leo noted that Leone did not like the first draft, which led him to drastically rewrite with Tessari production papers for the film, credit Spanish and German writers, but these were added to play in co-production standards during the period of filmmaking to get more financing for the Spanish and West German companies. I mean, that makes some sense. Leone would suggest that he wrote the entire screenplay based on Tessari's treatment. Sergio Leone intended Henry Fonda to play the man with no name. However, the production company could not afford to employ a major Hollywood star. Next, Leone offered the part to Charles Bronson. That's interesting. He, too, declined, arguing that the script was bad. Well, that's a mistake on his end. Both Fonda and Bronson eventually starred in Leone's Once Upon a Time in the West. Other actors who turned down were Silva, Calhoun, Tony Russell, Steve Reeds, James Coburn. Leone turned his attention to Richard Harrison, an expatriate American actor who had recently starred in the Italian Western Duello nel Texas. Harrison, however, had not been impressed with experience in that film and refused. The producers presented a list of available lesser-known American actors and asked Harrison for advice. Harrison suggested Eastwood, who he knew could play a cowboy convincingly. Harrison would state, "Maybe my greatest contribution to cinema was not doing A Fistful of Dollars," and recommended Clint for the part. Eastwood would speak about transitioning from a television Western to A Fistful of Dollars in Rawhide. "I did get awfully tired of playing the conventional white hat, the hero who kisses old ladies and dogs and was kind to everybody. I decided it was time to be an anti-hero. Let's go." Eastwood said that he had a similar idea for adapting Yojimbo to Western a few years earlier in LA when a friend who was a fan of samurai cinema took him to watch Yojimbo at a Western Avenue theater that ran Japanese films. Eastwood recalled that he remembered sitting there and saying, "Boy, this would be a great Western if only someone had the nerve to do it, but they'd never have enough nerve." A few years later, after someone handed him the script for A Fistful of Dollars, about 5 or 10 pages in, he recognized it as an obvious ripoff of Yojimbo, which he found ironic. A Fistful of Dollars was an Italian, German, and Spanish co-production, so there was a significant language barrier on set. Leone did not speak English. I did not know that, guys. That's awesome.
That's insane.
That is awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I need to go out there and do a spaghetti Western. And Eastwood communicated with the Italian cast and crew mostly through actor and stuntman Benito Stefanelli, who also acted as an uncredited interpreter for the production and would later appear in Leone's other pictures. Similar to other Italian films shot at the time, all footage was filmed in silent and the dialogue and sound effects were dubbed in post-production, like Gaz was saying. For the Italian version of the film, Eastwood was dubbed by stage and screen actor Enrique Mario Salerno, whose sinister rendition of the Man with No Name's voice contrasted with Eastwood's cocksure and darkly humorous interpretation. So quite interesting for the Italian audience, guys.
Wow. Yeah.
Right? We learned a lot here in the production.
That's interesting. Your Welcome Marine Water. It looks the name that constantly makes your head explode has been mentioned again. Maybe he was the man with no name. It wasn't Clint.
Okay, Running Water. You were on the wrong channel. You could take Gary Post over to one of those other channels that have no idea what they're talking about, because Gary Post blows and Gary Post can blow me. So we're gonna do our one. Go ahead, Gus. You have anything else?
One quick question. I think what's an interesting point. A lot of the old school martial arts movies, you know, the way the fighters kind of face off is just like the westerns. So
yeah.
I want to say this: Where the Dragon. That famous fight, Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris in the Coliseum, the way they face off, hasn't that got Western vibes all over it?
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that's so, like, you got to assume they took that for the from the set, like Kurosawa samurais, because they were already doing that. Obviously, the spaghetti westerns took it from the Kurosawa samurais. And then what age would you say the martial arts films are like? They start in the 70s. So 70s, 80s.
Yeah, so
that's after the westerns, right? As you were saying, so in the timeline. So
yeah. Oh man,
how old were we? I was like in college, Big C. I was like in my 20s. I didn't know anything about westerns when I was, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, probably. I think I know my dad showed me it as a little kid, possibly. I think I've got that recollection. And then they're on TV all the time. All three of them are on TV all the time, just like Conan the Barbarian. Those movies are on all the time. The Predator movies are. There's some movies that are absolute classics that literally more or less on every month or two. So when they're on, like, I usually DVR them and watch them.
Do you guys have like TCM there, guys? Turner Classic Movies?
Yeah, they stopped it and they replaced it with a lot of them are shown on Film 4 and Sky Arts as well.
AMC plays a lot of classics.
Yeah.
You guys still have AMC there? So
yeah.
I mean, this stuff is on. I mean, there's the problem with Pixie. Like I was saying, like I got into the Western genre so late after college, like because they showed us like these after the Kurosawas. And I really didn't take any interest in them until I had seen the Kurosawas, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I was saying before, the gunfighter, the American frontier gunfighter, is a you know homage to the feudal samurai, you know, in the Kurosawa samurai cinema. So that absolutely blew my mind. And then once I learned that, then I went and watched most of them. But I was super late on the Western genre, and then that got me into the Westerns, and then I got into like the neo Westerns, like you know the ones from you know modern day. 310 to Yuma, Hostels, even. I mean, obviously, there's that later stuff: Tombstone, Unforgiven, The Quick and the Dead.
Oh man, that's too much information, Pixie. Too much information.
Yeah, no, you started noticing things because these gunfighters were super hot dudes. So we're gonna.
It was the Pistols, wasn't it? I better behave. The Pistols with the full loaded barrels.
We're never doing westerns with you ever again, Pixie. At least not Eastwood. Let's do our ratings, Gazzy. We're right around 55 minutes.
Good.
It has a 7.9 on IMDb with 240,000 ratings. Your boy Ross PXF gave it a 9 out of 10 because it's a genius level director, an American legendary frontman, leading man, and one of the most legendary score makers of all time. 12 out of 10.
Yeah.
When MSJV says chaps, he means Pixie's hoping for assless chaps. Go ahead, guys. Kind of hard to cue up your answer when someone says that.
Yeah, I'm starting to see someone wearing a cowboy hat with chapless pants, and I want to get that image out of my mind now. It's going to be burned in, man. But yeah, I'm anywhere between a 9 and a 9.5. I think it's an incredible film, filmmaking, score, the wit, the face-off, the action for its time as well. The mystery surrounding the man with no name. There's definitely a lot to that character. This sets up a few dollars more, which is even better. So it's the perfect complement to Yojimbo. It really is. Fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's such an amazing Western. It's like it would be considered like a Western. I get, you know, if Europe and America is the West, you know, a Western version of Yojimbo. Super epic. Yeah, I rate it high. I mean, I know it's like cliche, and it's like because The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is probably like the big budget, like cliche Western everyone knows. It's still my favorite in the trilogy, just because that theme song, Morricone, and just I don't know, the three actors being, you know, juxtaposed against each other, you know.
It's fantastic, but when we come to it, I'm going to have to see if the second one is still my favorite, because I like the exchange between Clint and Colonel Mortimer. Colonel Mortimer's Pocket Watch, the theme, which has been sampled in many music genres, and of course you find out what happened to Colonel Mortimer's family, which is the whole reason for why he's on his quest, I shall say, for a few dollars more. So yeah, when we come to it, I need to decide if it's the second or the third one, like you said, which is my favorite.
Which will be sick, because if yours is the second, mine's the third, and then we both have like 2/3 of the trilogy. Yeah. I think we're gonna skip it. We were gonna do it last month. Red Cloud.
No,
the slow burn was like, dude, it was too long. Like that. So Robert Eggers is a genius level director, and like I do appreciate the black and white, his camera angles, the editing, the music, the period. I could definitely see it getting wardrobe for how they were dressed for the period piece, but the acting wasn't the best. Some of that CGI was wonky. I mean, I appreciate the concept. Don't get me wrong. I love vampires, but I don't know if it was either me or Gaz's cup of tea. You know what I mean?
I don't think we're the audience, are we?
I still think probably if I put a PXF classic there, I know it's not a perfect film because of Keanu's shite British accent, but I still think it's Dracula, Francis Ford Coppola for me.
Yeah, it has to be with Gary Oldman, man. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, Pixie. The camera angles are sick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what differentiates A Fistful of Dollars from Yojimbo. It's that Sergio Leone has a completely different style than Kurosawa. Sergio's more close-ups, wide shots. What's his name? Kurosawa's more like pull back, and landscapes and full, full images of the town and stuff, which Sergio does some of that, but he is quite different. And that's so interesting, dude. How the hell do you talk to your leading man, Clint Eastwood, when he's like an American guy from California or wherever, and you're an Italian guy that speaks no English? How to even get the film made?
Yeah, but now knowing that, the fact that they did that and they made 3 of them, dude, is pretty amazing. And just
Clint kept coming back.
And coming to Pixie's question there, the camera angles I thought were excellent because they showed that emotion in the characters, what they were thinking. And literally that last shootout between Ramon and a man with no name, and as Clint's walking forward and Ramon keeps dropping him, Clint keeps getting up. And you see like the sweat and that tension and the unnerving on Ramon's face, and that was all down at the camera angle, which was excellent.
Sweat and bullets. Bloodsport.
All right, that's interesting.
Without Jean-Claude Van Damme is not ever going to be a thing on this channel, but Kickboxer with Jean-Claude Van Damme and Atkins is going to be a huge thing on this channel.
Yeah, coming soon. We're going to look at the Kickboxer series, but that's
Yeah, you're right about this, Pixie. You are right about this.
Yeah.
There's a Elm Street fan film I need to see called The Last Dream of the Detective Coleman. It's a short prequel with Human Freddy. Looks incredible. The guy knows how to act like. That's the dude. Is that Robert Englund? No, that sounds cool, man. That sounds cool.
A friend of ours, Slip. Shout out to Patrick, who runs a webzine called Winter Torment. He mentioned to me that they were going to do a whole prequel series about Freddy before, I guess how he meets leading up to how he meets the demons who make him this like supernatural killer. I personally think it's unnecessary because the movies kind of give you enough backstory of what. I agree. So again, it's scraping the barrel, but yeah, we'll see.
I'm not into like deep diving every one of the horror.
It's unnecessary, man.
Do you really want to see Pinhead before he became Pinhead? And didn't they already explain that in Hellraiser 2, Hell on Earth, when they showed?
Yeah, they do quite a few times. Yeah.
I'm good with like what they showed when they showed it to you. Like I don't want to see. That being said, I think Hellraiser Remastered, I don't know if it's 4K, is coming back in theaters in the next couple months. So I'm interested to see how that goes. All right, let's do it, guys. Big channel announcements. So next week's show, we're not going to do any review. We're going to chill. The February schedule is posted under posts. We got Lou Temple, another huge actor for the channel. So you go check out John Philbin. We're talking Westerns, so Point Break, Tombstone. Go check out that one. Like, sub, share it. But next week we got Lou Temple. He's prominently featured in all the Rob Zombie movies. So Devil's Rejects. He's in the famous I am the devil's work. I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work. The Otis line from Devil's Rejects. He's in Halloween, the Rob Zombie remake. He's in 31, which I actually crowdfunded. So that's like where me and Lou Temple like worked together. He was an actor in the movie. I was just like a name of 500 names in the credits. He also did a bunch of voice work on video games, guys. He's in the Mafia series. He's
those were sick.
He did voice work on Killzone 3, which I think we
both. So they were sick games. Yeah,
prominent featured in voice video game voice acting, and then he also did a bunch of westerns too. He's a Texas actor, so he's like got the authentic accent. Oh, I almost forgot to mention. How could I forget? The Walking Dead. So I think at least we'll just call back to when it was good. I believe he's one of the original actors in the early seasons when we were all still watching it. So Lou Temple in The Walking Dead. He does all the horror cons. Going to be sick. Shout out to Drew Beeson for hooking that up. Going to be tough to get actor interviews after those two guys because I doubt we'll get anyone of Philbin and Temple stature, but we'll attempt to keep that series going the best we can.
Well, we have some ideas, folks. As I said last week, myself and Ross have so many things that we're looking at behind the scenes, which
Good call.
We don't want to really drop on here, say, oh yeah, we're doing this, just in case one of those doesn't happen. Then we're going to look like idiots if we say, oh yeah, we've got this guy coming to talk to me and Ross about Bigfoot, and that doesn't happen. So there are many areas that we're looking at, that we're looking to develop, that hopefully you will all be interested in. And I think that's all I'm going to say for now.
Yeah, if I announce it, guys, it's because it's locked into the guest.
Yeah, exactly.
And I kept Philbin a little bit of a secret until the day of, because I wanted that one to go well, and it did. Sanjuro, we're going to be following that up. You guys saw my 2-pack with Yojimbo and Sanjuro after Lou. And then Falling Down. We'll check in with Mac. I know he's a big Falling Down head. I'm not sure what his status is. Maybe we can get him back on. That's the Falling Down anniversary, another that will bring PXF back to vigilante action revenge. Of course, Michael Douglas, director Joe Schumacher, Robert Duvall. I think everyone's seen Falling Down. It's the most underrated, slept on 90s classic of all time. So there is always that talk, Gaz, of Falling Down Pooh and his son.
Yeah.
90s. I'm sure he'll be like a female trans, like Malaysian, but you know what I mean? We'll see what happens. Hopefully they just don't make it. Hopefully they just don't make it.
Yeah. I just hope we get some films soon where, even if they're not that great, just somebody comes up with a fresh idea or just look, this is why I loved American Primeval that we're going to cover out. Pixie, I'm not sure if you've finished that yet. I got so amped when I watched that, and I was messaging Ross in the middle of the night, bro, you've got to watch this. Because it has a simple story, good characters, well balanced. The action's really brutal, but it works. This is all we want. We just want a good story with some good characters, and it's a win. And that's why I rate American Primeval highly.
American Primeval was absolutely sick. I was trying to work it in, guys, but just with the actor interview and all that stuff, things got crunched. So me and Gaz, we pushed back a few things. But I can drop a couple things for March, but it's probably a little bit too early. So we have it mostly mapped out. American Primeval, super dope. My only thing about it was, Gaz, for one, plot-wise, it was pretty similar to what happened in Horizon when he was
it was, especially the end of that first episode.
That doesn't mean it's intentional, though. It just means they wrote two similar stories. And then the other thing, the way the ending kind of I'll get to it when we do it, but the ending didn't really hit for me as hard as I wanted it.
It didn't, did it? That was the only bit. It was a bit of an anticlimax.
Now, 80% of it, like Gaz said, is dope until you get to the very end, and it's still fire.
Thank you, Vixie.
It's still fire, but also the way it ended, I don't know how much it lended itself to continuing the story, because it's just going to follow her and her son. You know what I mean?
I think it's unnecessary. I mean, there's talk apparently. I think the director said, if I could get some of the actors back, it could be done. But I'm like, it's kind of wrapped up.
Story-wise,
how you could do it.
Yeah,
they could just do another Western-based series.
In the same, or follow other characters in the same universe. Because the Shoshone, epic. Mr. Reed was sick, but you'd have to bring in another character like Mr. Reed, and then he's Mr. Reed too. It's the same. So anyway, we'll cover that when we do American Primeval. But a great reco by Gaz. I don't know what is this. Besides this show, it's the best show on TV. American Primeval after Paradigm Review show. I don't know. I don't know if anything competes with the level of genius level streaming that we do here at PXF. Anyway, guys, I think we're gonna wrap. I want BKFC tonight. Pixie UFC was on earlier. Michael Venom Page took the undefeated Magadov record. Took the W.
Nice. He won, didn't he?
Yeah, he won. Israel Adesanya got sat down. He's on a skid. And now we got BKFC Mohegan Sun coming up tonight. So Julian Lane headlining. So that should be sick. A little New England fight. I'll miss the Walking Dead one, going to Tahoe for my birthday. Wow. We're just going to have to tune in on your phone. We'll give you some birthday shout outs. Appreciate you helping us down. Anyway, that's Lou Temple. It's just an actor interview. You'll catch it on the live stream, Pixie. So I think that's it, guys. Leave recos in the live chat or below in the description. Lou Temple next week. Devil's Rejects, Walking Dead 31. We'll be talking Rob Zombie and talking Lou's career, Westerns and horror. He's big on the convention circuit. Shout out to Drew for hooking that up. Shout out to Lauren Lepre. I have a show that's going to be popping off on his channel we did basically a 2024 wrap up, or I think a January wrap up with a bunch of stuff, current event type stuff, and talk some Yellowstone and some films. I feel like, the Camera X. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that the Camera X trailer is going to be dropping February 4th on Average Superstar TV. I might drop it here too if Lauren sends me the file. And I'm also probably going to be dropping Dark Military Rogue here as a re-upload for just for Lauren. It's obviously on the Average Superstar channel. So a lot going on, guys, between like as far as like films that we're actually like in the mix with. Desert Fiends coming out in April. We'll be reviewing that, which I crowdfunded. Skate to Hell trailer is out now, which you'll see some PXF cameos in. Camera X, the official PXF production, it's going to be dropping. So we're going to be doing a lot more film stuff, guys, actor interviews, and just talking to Lauren and stuff between Average Superstar and PXF. Of course, like Gaz said, cryptids coming, maybe UAPs when we feel like it. And then, yeah, I know you guys are probably waiting for me to talk about Zodiac. I just haven't been in a Zodiac mood, but I'll get to it. I'll book some Zodiac shows, and we'll probably do a couple live shows. And I'll give you guys updates on like episode 5 and 6 of the main series. But I think that's everything. A Fistful of Dollars. So Epic. Lou next week. And then we'll be doing Sanjuro. And then we'll continue the Man with No Name Dollars trilogy. No, but this sounds cool. I mean, I'm a Shatner fan. I'm into original Star Trek. I'll check it out. Yeah, we got the that other one about the cannibal. We got that coming up for you. So Well, dude, you're like an interesting film watcher, Slipknot, because you always watch stuff between like the 60s and the 80s. One thing, I don't know if you've seen it, you probably have, because you've seen like a big horror head. Have you seen the Horror Express? It's supposed to be like another version of The Thing. So me and Gaz were thinking about doing that one as well. That's cool, man. Good. We'll check it out. Yeah, we'll check it out together. We'll get it. We're a little bit booked up right now, but I think we'll have some space around April, and then we'll start doing more Westerns in the late spring into summer. Get more Westerns going on this summer. And then eventually I will do all those Zodiac movies, guys, that are the possible Zodiac movies referenced in the Zodiac letters. Rampage. I already watched The Car. I'm blanking out on what's that one? The Badlands, obviously. So we'll get all that stuff going too. Nice. Yeah, no, you know, I'm getting into the Thing stuff. So I was thinking me and Gaz would do Horror Express, and then me and Gaz would do the Thing prequel, like he mentioned. And then there is that The Thing 2 fan film on YouTube, Gaz. We'll have to get that in our mix and just see if it's any good, because obviously The Thing Reloaded is out now on Steam. No, I already did this with Morph and Ned. Where have you been? And yeah, you just hate that movie because it's about Graysmith. But honestly, it's a great movie. It's just not a great movie for learning the Zodiac case. Pretty much have to watch them separately. Like, hey, here's a movie about Zodiac, but I don't believe anything. It's just a movie. And then here's the Zodiac crimes. Two separate things in my mind. All right, guys. Like we said, recommendations in the live chat in the description below. Like, sub, share. Shout out to Fire Pixie for holding down the membership gifts. And happy early birthday, Pixie. I guess you're out next week, so come rock with us when you get back from Tahoe.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Are you going to be working on the Donna Lass case while you're up there in Tahoe, Pixie? If you find any evidence, send it over to your boy. Ross Leone. I'm an Italian director straight out of Spaghetti Westerns. We got Gaz, Mosh, PXM, Shinobi. We'll keep up the Samurai Duel streams on Mosh, and I don't know if you're coming back with your retrospectives anytime soon, Gaz.
Yep. I got other things I'm working on, but there is Life After Fighting, which I've been talking about for so long. It is 90% done. I know people have been asking, when's American Ninja Form 5 coming? Yes, there will be coming. When I've just got so much going on in my personal life at the moment, but they will be coming. Myself and Ross, I want to do something connected to those, possibly the Scott Adkins Ninja films, the Kickboxer movies, and the best of the best movies. Like I said, there's so many things we are looking at behind the scenes as well. So yeah, soon there will be some new content on there for sure.
Subscribe to the Patreon. You can do it with your Gmail free. Me and Gaz are going to be doing Invasion USA. We're going to be doing Norris for Pixie, so she'll get excited for that one. And then we do have that Avenging Force. So
Avenging Force to the off Steve Jones.
Keeping up with the Most Dangerous Game adaptations. There's very few left. Probably my next one, guys, is going to be a paid subscribe post on the Patreon. So if you want to see what I write on there, you're going to have to be a paid member. If you join the channel as a member and you want to see what I'm doing over there, then I'll find a way for you to see it. That way you don't have to join both. Just putting that out there for members on Patreon and members on YouTube. So if like you're on the YouTube and you message me like, hey, I can't see the paid post on Patreon, then I will I'll post it as a members post here on YouTube. That way it'll generally be on both. So there is the 10th victim. I'm probably going to make that a behind the paywall post on my Patreon. That's not a Most Dangerous Game adaptation. It's just possibly a Zodiac influence. And then probably, I think, Avenging Force and I got to see, what was that film called? Deadly Prey. I got to see how bad Deadliest Prey, the sequel, is. And that will determine whether I write about it on Patreon or whether me and Gaz roast it.
It should be hilariously entertaining considering the first one. That the score's still in my head as well. Dun, dun, dun.
Dude is just like running around in his skivvies in the jungle like that whole movie, just a ripped dude. You would like that one, Pixie. Anyway, all right, on that note, I think it's time to get out of here. What was the fan films with the OG cast? Not sure, brother. Oh, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Shout out to everybody who came through. I hear you. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff with the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. You probably need Lauren for that, as you guys can tell. I'm the Most Dangerous Game vigilante action revenge guy. And martial arts guy. I'm not the horror guy.
Yeah, there was two Friday the 13th fan films, and I forget the names, but it has some of the cast from some of the early movies. They're not bad, actually, so I don't think it's the one that you're mentioning, Slip, but I will take a look at that. Red Gorpot, yes, that sounds delightfully horrible, which is right up my alley, so I'll definitely take a look, man. That's
it, guys. Like, sub, share, join the Patreon. Lou Temple interview next week. We're going to be talking Walking Dead and Devil's Rejects. Should be fire. Like we said, bunch of stuff. At the bare minimum for the Moshinobi stuff, like we said, Gas and I will be doing Striking Justice, the brand new Tony Jaa. And then whenever that, I don't know if it's called Kickboxer Armageddon or if that was the last one, or something like that. Whatever that new Kickboxer is, when the trailer drops, we'll be all over that. So shout out Jean-Claude Van Damme, the GOAT. All right, guys. Fistful of Dollars. Go check it out. It's awesome. I think it's on Paramount. I don't really think you can watch it free. I think there's some uploads on YouTube, but they might be a little bit weird, hard to find. You guys know how that is. So.
Yeah, and just check your TV channels because they usually are on TV quite a lot. And shout out to everybody as well for coming through, and we shall see you next time. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Next Saturday, 4 p.m. Cloud, we'll be talking to Lou Temple. I think he's in almost all of the new Rob Zombie movies. Halloween, nice. Devil's Rejects, 31, probably some other ones. He plays the banjo dude that's in the band in Devil's Rejects, obviously in that Otis kill scene when he walks the two guys into the desert. And then he played Psycho Head in 31. And he was obviously on the Walking Dead cast. So I have to see album cover by good stuff, guys. All right, guys, we're gonna be let's rock with Lou next week. Like, sub, share. Click the join button for membership. Join the Patreon free with your Gmail, or if you want to see the paid posts, you can check out the tiers there. Of course, we have the Guerrilla, Inspector, and Vigilante tiers here on YouTube. Check those out. Subscribe to Moshinobi to keep up with Gaz and the samurai, martial arts, ninja movies. And we'll be popping off. Thanks for all the help, Pixie. Appreciate you. BKFC tonight. Who do you got? Probably Julie Lane taking the win, headliner. All right, guys.
8-6 slip. Thanks. Nice.
Good stuff. Good stuff. What is this? It's my Patreon. Oh yeah, get the merch on the spring, of course. Yeah. All right, guys, we're out. I'm gonna be getting some stuff together.